A very warm welcome back to the Football Martin podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's all about the build-up today to our game at the weekend against Ipswich Town. It is a trip to Portman Road, and today I'm joined on the show by Matt from Talking Town to give me the insight into the season so far for Ipswich Town. We'll get some team news, see what's happening around town right now. Matt, thank you very much for joining me on the Football Martin channel. It's not been as bad as for you as it has been for us. Let's be honest about it. You're well and truly in with a chance.
Yeah, we are at the moment. I mean, he was on our show earlier, Martin. We were saying, if you guys were to go down, then it's, who's going to join you? Leicester, Town, the three that came up. I've got to go. Or maybe Wolves are in there as well. And I feel like Ipswich given themselves a good fighting chance. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I'd have to tell Southampton fans as well documented what's been going on at St Mary's this season. And Leicester obviously lost Maresca in the summer. Didn't need to go to Chelsea. Doesn't work out with Cooper. Then they bring in Van Nistelrooy. Whether or not that's a good appointment, I don't know. Up until Spurs, they were 7 on the bounce, weren't they? Losses. And then Wolves are a funny club to me. Again, lost their manager. Brought in, I think that Pereira's quite a good manager, albeit kind of like a bit of a firefighter manager. If there's a crisis, he'll drop everything to go around the world to try and solve it. Portuguese, obviously, so probably maybe a good fit culturally with that squad. But they seem very fractured to me. A lot of individuals in there. I mean, that Mario Lamina refusing to pay for the club. We had our own issues with Wolves at Molineux after we beat them 2-1 there, where it all kicked off. And Cunha got done by the FA over an assault on the pitch and all that kind of thing. So they're a funny side. So I feel like there's still good energy about Town. The credit in the bank that McKenna had on the back-to-back promotions for us. Certainly, we expected to be promoted out of League One, but we certainly didn't expect to get promoted in second place in the Championship. He's got all that goodwill in the bank, really. So, so it's the polar opposite to you, basically. It's what's going on.
It's difficult. It's difficult for a promoted side as it is, isn't it? Coming up, we spoke about it on your channel today. You have to find ways to win football games. You've been able to do that. That game against you at St Mary seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? That Sam Morsey goal that got the point on the day. You were saying it wasn't necessarily one of your better performances this season, but it was a big point, wasn't it? It was a big point on the day. How's the season unravelled since that moment against Southampton, that Morsey goal? How did the weeks after that unravel?
Yeah, I felt we were lucky in that game at St Mary's, really. I mean, we were saying, weren't we? I mean, it was Dibbin scores, doesn't he? Quite early doors for you, 5th, 6th minute, something like that. You hit the post.
His only goal of the season, actually. It's his only league goal.
Yeah, surprising. Yeah.
No, actually, he didn't. He scored against Palace. He scored twice. He did. He got a tap in against Palace, actually, saying that. That's
right. I remember now. Yeah. He, I mean, there's so, he's like Delap a little bit. There's so much hype around him at the moment, isn't it? So you'd have thought maybe he'd have found the net a little bit more. But I felt we were lucky at St Mary's that day. And at the end, it was the corner that comes over the Morsey short deflection, and he goes. Kind of sums up your luck for the season, I guess. But I mean, Ipswich is sat on 16 points, but it's been heavy weather trying to get results. I mean, the last game of the year at Chelsea against Chelsea at Portman Road was our first home win. Although we deservedly won that game, we beat them 2-0, and we've had the 2 away wins at Wolves and weirdly at Spurs. Was a kind of when Tottenham were going through that kind of battering ram phase where they'd done Everton by 4. Same with Wolves. With West Ham. They were smashing everyone. We're thinking it was going to be a bloodbath. Go there and win 2-1. So getting points has been really kind of like heavy weather. We've not really been able to get any momentum. We beat Spurs. We had United at home. Amarim's first game. We played well in that game. Should have won really. Drew 1-1. Then defeats came on the back of it. And at the moment, we're riding a 3-game skid at the moment. We got done 2-0 by Brighton, got done 6-0 by Manchester City, which was a little bit harsh. Maybe it was a 5-0 game. I mean, it was 6 was flattering. And then we got a hiding at Anfield on Saturday. That was done and dusted by half-time.
They're a great side, though, aren't they? Let's be honest. They're at home. They're very, very good. But to be fair, even on the road, they're one of the best sides I've seen in the flesh. They're going to win the league, aren't they? They'll be the champions. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, everyone's saying, well, they've qualified in the Champions League last night as top or whatever it was, and they're probably the best team in Europe. They're probably the best club team in the world at the moment. I mean, couldn't really name anyone else, to be honest. And we played well against them on the opening day of the season at Portman Road, albeit they beat us 2-0 in the end. We played really well against them in the first half there. I mean, the game was done and dusted at Anfield by half time, but we played well against them on Saturday in the second half, and we scored right at the death, which is something Bayer Leverkusen, all Real Madrid, champions in their respective countries, couldn't manage at Anfield. So we'll take the score when we can. So, it's a funny one. We go from Manchester City and Liverpool both vying for the title, and then we go into a relegation battle with yourselves Saturday.
Yeah, and it's a huge game for you. You'll be eyeing this one, thinking this is massive for you. Obviously, we're down and out. There's no doubt we're going to get relegated, and it's how bad it gets for us. But it's a big opportunity for you to try and get a win, and really put some pressure on those above you. Yep. Everybody's in touch and distance for you guys at this moment in time, and you want to put, it's a big game this weekend for Leicester as well. I think they have Everton. Am I right in saying that this weekend? Yeah. So it's a big weekend at the bottom of the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Everton have done well since Moyes came in. I didn't really know if that was going to work out. They always say don't go back, don't they? But he suddenly gets back-to-back wins against Tottenham. It's always Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah, always Tottenham.
And Brighton, and suddenly they kind of pulled out of the mix. But I mean, it wasn't that long ago when they got done at Bournemouth at Dean Court, and I was listening to TalkSport on a drive home. Troy Deeney was going, they're going to get relegated, Everton, under Dyche. He said the worst Premier League side I've seen all season. And that was only like less than a month ago, I would say. So it's interesting how they've pulled through. But I mean, at the same token, Ipswich haven't really been able to do that, as I said earlier, because we've not been able to put back-to-back wins together. And I think if you're not suddenly going 3-6 and then, get a third win in there or a draw, it's only got 7 points from 3 matches. That really does give you a platform and a foundation to pull clear of the bottom 3, because as you guys have seen, and Leicester up until the weekend just can't get wins.
Yeah, it's so hard, isn't it? The Premier League is so unforgiving, isn't it?
It's the golf, isn't it? It's the golf, really. And you've got, I mean, you rightly said on our show, it'd be a bit damning on the Premier League for the 3 promoted to go back down again. So you're always trying to finish one better than them and hope that a mainstay Premier League side from the season before gets pulled in, as we're now seeing with Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah, it would be nice to see one of us stay up. I mean, it won't be us, but I think Leicester have been there sitting. I don't know. I said in your channel today, it'd be nice to see Ipswich do it out of everyone, just to try and get a year. One of us needs to stay in it, and for me, you'd be the preferred option. And Leicester fans won't like me for saying so. Highlight of the season so far, Matt. What's been the highlight? Spurs away must have been a brilliant day.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, that was because that was such a shock result. Really, I was expecting us to get done 3 or 4 there. I think that probably the highlight at the moment probably was the Chelsea win. Actually, again, you go into that game with like 0 expectations. I'm on the train up from Essex with the Chelsea fans, and they're kind of like, we've just got to turn up and get 3 points. I mean, we played very well in that game, and this was for a spell where we started playing 5 at the back, 3 centre backs, and then the 2 full backs kind of pushing up as wing backs so they can go into the midfield and help the attack. So we did concede a lot of possession to Chelsea in that game. I don't think we even got into 300 passes in that game, where McKenna's sides have traditionally been 400, 500 passes, very possession back. And we allowed Chelsea to have the ball. They had like 750 passes. Yeah, we beat them 2-0. We beat them 2-0. And I would say Chelsea were a little bit unlucky in that game. I mean, Cole Palmer kind of drifted in and out. They hit the woodwork a couple of times. Palmer whipped from a free kick. That João Felix had a goal disallowed by VAR. I mean, that was really tight. That was one of them 10 minutes where they draw the lines to work out that he was off. So I think, just against the calibre of opposition, really, it was good for McKenna to get one over Maresca, having Leicester beaten us to the title last season. And some would say, if you believe the rumours, that Maresca just picked McKenna to the Chelsea job when it became available. And obviously Pochettino left. So, that's probably the highlight for us. But I mean, they're few and far between, aren't they? I mean, we've had plenty of lows.
What's the biggest change in terms of the way he's setting his team up in the Premier League? Has he set the team up differently? Has he got a different approach to Premier League football compared to Championship football?
He didn't particularly at the start of the season. I mean, look, tactics is a funny thing, isn't it? I mean, if you speak to, you might get a different viewpoint. Certainly, I felt when we started the season, we were just trying to replicate what we've done with great success in the Football League. I mean, why not? I mean, it garnered us almost 200 points and 200 goals across 2 seasons. So, I mean, we weren't used to losing games. We were used to dominating sides. And whether or not there was some naivety in that, I guess, to try and do the same tactics going in there. I think it kind of changed, really, when the Newcastle game. We went for a little spell, Man United and Newcastle, where we conceded in the first minute in both of those games at home. We got out of jail against United and got the 1-1, and arguably should have won that, really. We had lots of good chances. And played really well in that game. But as soon as we conceded in a minute against Newcastle, we were done and dusted, really. And we got done. We were 3-0 down by half time. We lost 4-0. And we were far too attacking, really, in our approach. We conceded straight from our kickoff, basically. Then after that, we went to Arsenal and the Emirates, and that's where we kind of saw this. 3 centre-backs came in rather than the 2, more of a wing-back approach. So you're either a 3 or a 5 in and out of possession, really. And we kind of, instead of that kind of like front foot press, starting with Delap and the 2 that sat behind him, we kind of allowed that size to have possession of the ball, which proved dividends against Chelsea, but not against Liverpool on Saturday. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we've had highs and lows of those tactics. I do think when you guys come to town on Saturday, we'll go back to a 4-2-3-1, because I think we've got to try and get in Ciso in, who's our loan from Brighton. Very attacking prospect, very exciting prospect. Seems to do all his good stuff for Brighton in that debut season and score from distance in the number 10 role. That's kind of been, we've not really had that whilst we've changed tactics against the bigger sides. I think we'll go back to the 4-2-3-1, which has been McKenna's staple over his tenure at town, really.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he sets up against us. I thought maybe a little bit cautious against us at home. He certainly have a go at us. I think Southampton, I said on your channel today, I think we're quite frail at the moment. I think there's that confidence is at an all-time low. That it'd be interesting to how the game open. You know, the opening 20 minutes is quite key for us. You know, if you've got an early goal, we have a bit of a mentality issue, which really concerns me. That really does concern me. Who's adapted to the Premier League well for you? You know, you look at your side from last season. Who's took to the Premier League well? You know, we found at Southampton a lot of our players that we thought that would step up and play and do a job in the Premier League. Downs, Harwood Bellis. They've really struggled. Have you had a similar situation where you've had players struggle, or?
I would say the one that's really shocked everybody, I think, is probably Liam Delap. Because if you think back to him playing at Hull City last season, well, first of all, they played 3 up front, didn't they? He was not normally the number 9. He was out on the right-hand side from memory. And he was struggling with injuries there. Certainly when we brought him and Greaves pretty close together, all the hype was around Jacob Greaves coming in. He's definitely going to play for England. Oh, we've got Liam Delap, who was at Man City, and we bought him 15 million. I don't think anyone saw him getting 7-8 goals, whatever he's got in the Premier League this season. I mean, he's an absolute battering ram. I mean, proper old school, well, like Shearer, really. I mean, obviously, you remember him well from Southampton, but he's that kind of old school. Yeah, old school, almost like a target man, really. But I mean, he'll know you. He'll let defenders know. He'll let Bednarek and Harwood Bellis know he's there right from the kickoff. He'll literally just go run straight into him, shoulder barge him. And referees are getting wise that a little bit. And he's only 2 cards away now from getting a 2-game ban. He's picked up a lot. He's picked up a lot of yellow. So he's done fantastically well. To a lesser extent, I think, because he's been out of the side, and I don't think he's going to be fit enough to play on Saturday. But Smodek's obviously had a great season, goal scoring in the Championship. Top scorer, wasn't he, with 27, 30 goals, whatever it was. He's yet to score at Bournemouth Road, but he's got 4 on the road and scored quite critical goals. Great overhead kick against Spurs.
Yeah, it was a brilliant goal.
I think he's done really well. When fit, Twanzebe has looked immense at kind of either right centre-back or right back. I mean, he kind of arrived really marking Matoma out of the game when we got a 0-0 at Brighton. And Hertzler was like, Matoma's one of the best wingers.
He caused us a huge amount of problems down there, I've got to say. He was brilliant.
And Twanzebe marks him out of the game. I mean, it was a kind of a masterclass, but he's struggled with injuries. I mean, he nearly lost his thumb in a washing up incident, would you believe? So that ruled him out for ages, most of the season, in actual fact, straight after that Brighton game. And then he picked up a bit of a hamstring injury, but he returned for the Liverpool game. Where we've really struggled is our goalkeeper. I mean, we brought Muric in and he played at St Mary's for 8 million from Burnley. I've never really worked out why Haladki, who was our number 1 keeper last season, albeit through injury because Walton was out injured, went to Burnley on a free, and we've paid 8 mil to get their keeper in. It was this kind of swapped. We've parted with a wedge of cash, you know. But the jury's been out on Muric. I mean, he had a bit of a nightmare debut against Manchester City, in which he was culpable for 2 goals in the 4-1 loss. He's never really recovered from that, really. And you're always waiting for him to make a mistake. Up until the weekend, he'd made 5 errors for goals, so led the Premier League table in that one. Now that Robert Sanchez has joined him. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of tense, really. I mean, I don't know if he's colourblind or something, but I mean, he would easily find the opposition with a pass when you're playing out from the back. Hit easily past the edge of the box. There,
Are you still playing out from the back quite a bit, or is he kind of
changed a little
bit?
Yeah, it's changed a little bit since Walton came in because he's not as good with his feet, Walton. I mean, I used to call him two touch in League One, Walton. I mean, he would need at least two touches just to get the ball under control. Out of sight, out of mind, where he's obviously been training for the last year as a number two. I think his distribution has got better marginally, but he's not really. He's a good shot stopper. He's not comfortable with the ball at his feet. If anything, he's going to sort of pass that diagonal out to the wing backs on either flank. Yeah. Really, and I mean, you'd have saw it when we was at St Mary's with Muric. It would have been either Cahuste, who we've got on loan from Napoli, or Morsey coming to the D, and then it's kind of predictable. A lot of clubs do this now. Then you're passing out to the centre halves, aren't you, either side, or the wing backs, or whatever it might be. And certainly Muric, I don't know, he would have one rick in him, and the fans lost patience with him a little bit. Now I feel like after the Liverpool 4-1, it feels like they're losing patience with Walton. I think the answer is neither. We said that.
What areas do you think they're strengthened in the January window, or will there be any business? Obviously, you've brought the lad in from Brighton. Is there any other business to be done?
We've brought in Philogene. Jaden Philogene's coming for 20 million.
Of course you did. Has he played yet? Has he played Philogene?
Yeah, he had a little cameo against Man City, then made his full debut against Liverpool. Again, you can't really judge him in that game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Still early.
Everyone was on the edge of the penalty area trying to keep him out, the red ball out. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, the game to judge him against is, unfortunately for you, is Southampton. We brought him in for 20 million. He was a signing we tried to make in the summer, but Hull sold him to Villa on one of those, the matching contract. They matched our fee that we'd bid at Hull, and by contract rights, he went back to Villa. But so McKenna obviously likes something about him. I mean, what that is, I'm not sure at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. He's going to play left side of the three, I would have thought. And we brought Ben Godfrey in from Atalanta, defender. Obviously used to play for Norwich, done well at Everton, a couple of England caps when he was there. I think he went for 10, 11, went for about 10, 11 million to Atalanta, barely featured there. I think one or two at the most appearances. So I think that's a good signing for us. I mean, he's only really had a cameo against Man City and Bristol Rovers in the Cup. Still need another striker, really. I mean, we've struggled there. Al Hamadi's gone to Stoke on loan. George Hurst has only just come back from injury, so he's kind of the backup to Delap. Really, we need someone with a bit more top flight nous, I think, to step into the breach when Delap inevitably gets the other two yellows and has to sit out for 2 games.
Yeah, which is a big worry, isn't it? It's a big worry. How's Calvin Phillips done since his move to Cotton Road?
The jury's out on him, to be honest with you. I mean,
is it?
I would say he's flattered to deceive a little bit. He's unspectacular, Calvin, isn't he? And I think, he's not blessed with great pace. He's got good vision of the ball, I suppose. Bielsa obviously thought he was a really great passer with the ball and kind of utilised that, which is why he got that huge move to Man City. But the jury's out on him, really, to be honest with you. Excuse me. He got sent off against Leicester in a game he was playing quite well. And then he got injured. So then he missed a spell of games. But I think the plan really was at the start of the season was for him and Morsey to play together. But I mean, that's just too slow for me. Yeah. If they're there as a double pivot, 2 holding midfielders, there's no pace in that midfield whatsoever. Hence, they got Cahuste in, who I mentioned earlier, and played against you guys at St Mary's. He's on loan from Napoli. Ours to buy if we stay up for 10 million. Everyone really likes him. He barely completes games, to be honest with you. I don't think he's done a 90 minutes yet. Actually, ditto Calvin. If he's not getting sent off, he gets subbed.
Yeah.
So I mean, and even the fans, even though he's been captain fantastic for us, Morsey, he looked very much out of his depth against Anfield on Saturday. He looked slow. He's not played very well over the winter, really. He started off really good in the Premier League, Morsey, which was brilliant.
Against us at St Mary's, he had a decent game, didn't
he? He gets the goal. Yeah. And he's been a fantastic servant for our club, really, in quite a short space of time. But, I mean, for someone who's really campaigned around League One, League Two level, top-end championship for a couple of seasons, the jump is huge, isn't it? Suddenly to have the pressure of a Premier League survival campaign on your shoulders as a captain. And I think he's done really well, actually, up until these last few games, really. But maybe it's just catching up with him. I mean, he's no spring chicken either. He's coming up to 34. Maybe his career at Town is on the decline a little bit, but I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact he's been a brilliant captain for us. And, he's such a talismanic figure for Ipswich Town fans that maybe some getting a little bit shocked that maybe in some games he's out of his depth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting hearing who's done well, who's not. Looking ahead to this big game at the weekend for you guys, a huge game. Saints have taken a full away allocation, so I think it'd be a decent atmosphere there, no doubt about it. Any team news for us?
Yeah, we're kind of waiting on that at the moment. I don't think McKenna's done a presser today, so I think it'll be tomorrow. Certainly, we're not going to have Wes Burns playing because he tragically, I mean, another great servant for us, been on the League One to Premier League journey. So he's someone you want to see do really well. He got injured against Liverpool, and it looks like it was quite a serious knee injury. We might get more.
Didn't look nice, did it?
Yeah, it didn't look good at all, which is a tragedy for Wes, like I say, because he's been a fantastic servant for us. Right-hand side of that, on that side for Ipswich this season has been a poison challenge because we brought in Chizochi Ogbeni from Luton, 8 million. He gets ruled out for the season against Brentford. So he's only played like 2-3 games for us. And now Burns kind of like had a free run in that role. He's out. So I think Amari Hutchinson, who was really good for us last season, scored at St Mary's, you might recall.
Yeah, it was good.
In the 1-0 win, I think he'll move over to the right-hand side. Now, like I say, I think we will play the three behind Delap. So I think Enciso will go into the middle. I would imagine Philogene will be on the left-hand side of that three. And then Delap in the middle. But we've rotated, like I said, we've rotated the keepers round. We've rotated some of our defenders around this season as well. So there's still a question mark who might play the right back-ish role. Greaves and Burgess have kind of been rotated around this season, even though we paid a big fee for Greaves. He has been in and out of the side, albeit he did pick up an injury around the winter months. So Cameron Burgess come in. He's played very well. So sometimes you see Burgess do a couple of games, then he disappears, and Greaves comes in, and he goes again. Greaves got the nod and obviously scored at Anfield Saturday. But that's with McKenna, that's no guarantee that he'll be playing on Saturday against you. So we'll have to wait and see. It might be a question mark on Leif Davis. You'll remember he scored against you at Portman Road in that 3-2.
He's a good player, Leif Davis, yeah.
Yeah, he got subbed because he was unwell against Liverpool on Saturday. Connor Townsend came in there. We bought him from West Bromwich Albion. Decent fee, 500, 600 grand maybe. He played really well against Liverpool in the second half. Some people, you know what people are like. So once the favourites moved out of the side and bring a sub in that you're not seeing, oh, he looks all right. We'll just start him against Southampton. You know what it's like. Yeah. I mean, look, Davis is part of the spine, really. It's always been Davis, Morsey, Delap, really, and everyone else around them. They're the three names on the team sheet, really. But we'll wait tomorrow and see what McKenna says. But I mean, you can never trust McKenna in a press conference anyway. He looks like a choir boy, but you won't want to play poker with him. He'd rinse you for all you know. Because what he says on a Friday,
give too much away.
No, what he says on a Friday can be completely overturned by the Saturday.
Yeah, Ross and Martin, you say if someone was close to being fit, they usually weren't. That's what I always found with him. You kind of find that with managers, don't you? Do you feel there's an added pressure this weekend because we're already down just the 6 points on the board? Do you feel there's a bit more pressure and expectation on you guys to win this one?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a little sense of entitlement, I feel, in the Ipswich fan base all season. Really, we came up on back-to-back. A lot of people were predicting that we would finish mid-table, maybe even pushing for European spots, which seems ludicrous to me, really. But I mean, if you can't be optimistic about your side at the start of the season, when can you be? And I'm sure a lot of Town fans will be looking at Southampton and thinking we'll beat you. But I mean, look, it's dangerous, that thinking. I mean, it was only a year ago, right, and we got beat by Maidstone in the FA Cup 2-1 at Portman Road.
Yeah.
In a game that everyone was thinking would win 4, 5 or 6. Got humiliated on national TV. So, I mean, there's no guarantee there. And you talk about sort of heads going down at Southampton. McKenna never really criticises our squad of players. It's not really... You tend to find that, don't you, when managers have come through youth coaching. It's always about the group, isn't it? And they never sort of criticise their players. The nearest McKenna has got, I would say in actual fact, in the entire tenure he's had at Ipswich was after the Brighton game the other week when we lost 2-0, when he said the belief had gone when we went 1 down, when Matoma actually, ironically, scored the goal. So if you were to take the lead, that would, I think, shock the Portman Road crowd. It would be interesting to see if Ipswich has got the belief to get back into the game because, McKenna himself has said, when we've gone 1 down against Brighton and then, we've got steamrolled by Manchester City, played all right in that game for half hour. By half time, we were 3-0 down. And then we were 3-0 down against the Liverpool on Saturday. So, the floodgates have opened when we've conceded early. Whether that happens against you, don't know. But if you were to take the lead, it'd be very interesting because you did hold on to the lead for a good 85, 86 minutes at Old Trafford, didn't you? albeit an
Yeah, it
own
was
goal. You did enough to hold.
best away performance probably this season without any question. We were really good. We
Yeah.
were really good for 75, 80 minutes. But again, it's mentality, isn't it? You have to be switched on for the whole of the game. You need to utilise your bench really well in that situation, manage the game, and look. In a minute we concede a goal, heads go, and that's the biggest problem, isn't it? You know, Premier League is so unforgiving. You have to.
Yeah.
You need everyone bought in. You know, you can't afford to carry anybody. You can't afford anyone not to give 110%. When you're down there fighting for your life, and you're a side that are probably not blessed with the quality of some of these top sides, it's a difficult division. I think it's set up for it to be a really interesting game. Michael Oliver referees this one as well. Mike said that in the comments earlier on. Any thoughts on that one, Matt?
Well, we've had him already this season. He gave us a penalty against Everton. Then he went and looked at the screen and overturned it. So he's coming into this game on the back of the Wolves Arsenal red card, isn't he?
Yeah, which got overturned.
Which got overturned. So we'll just have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I've seen a bit of Southampton. Certainly, I mean, I'm one of the few Ipswich fans because of his Norwich connections. Actually, quite liked Russell Martin. I didn't mind him at all. I liked him as a character. And I kind of, you know,
I liked him as a person as well.
Yeah, you couldn't fail, but, you know, because he was in our division, you couldn't fail to acknowledge what a great run that was, the 25, 26 games, whatever it was, September to February.
25 was unreal, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really good.
That was really impressive. Yeah, I mean, you were steamrolling some sides, weren't you? So I think it was really good. But I've seen a bit of Southampton under Jurich. I mean, he's an interesting character to me. When I said to you on our show earlier, I watch a lot of European football. So he's someone I was aware of and knew he had not really pulled up any trees at Roma, but they got him out after a dozen games. But I saw the game with Fulham when you had Simon Rusk in charge. And then you didn't have many chances in that, but it showed you could go away from home and contain a good mid-table side. And certainly I think teams that have come to Portman Road this season and contained us, like a Brighton, like a Crystal Palace, we've really struggled against. I mean, a lot of people were viewing Crystal Palace like they are Saturday against you. Palace will come in, struggling, we'll beat them. Forgetting that they had Oliver Glasner, who had won Europa League with Frankfurt about 2 years previous to that. And he was just too good tactically for McKenna, who's still, you know, albeit done great for us.
Mateta's good for them, isn't he, up front? He's a handful. Yeah, very good.
We couldn't really break them down. So, I mean, if you do come a bit more defensive minded rather than trying to get on the front foot against us, that could turn it into a bit of a worrying afternoon for the town fans.
Yeah, we won't play any football. We won't play a great deal of football. I think we go long a lot more now. Is a little bit more direct, to be a bit of a press from the front. Try and get up the field a bit quicker, try and play a little bit of a high line so that there's always opportunities to get in behind us. We tried to do that for the third goal against Newcastle at the weekend, and Toonali was just magnificent on the day. But we're just not defensively shrewd enough for the Premier League, unfortunately. As we come to the back end of the show, Matt, I need to trouble you for a score prediction, my friend. I need to get your thoughts on this one. So what are you saying, Matt?
Yeah, God, yeah. But I always get accused on Talking Town of being too negative, but I think the fact, you know, I'm fortunate for everyone who's watching this show who's red and white. Of course, it's, you know, tragic for you that you're at the bottom of the table. And I think if Ipswich are going to try and survive, as we've just been discussing the last half hour,
you have to beat us, yeah.
We've got to beat you, haven't we? We've got to beat you. So, I mean, I think there's no guarantee, but I hope we do. I think it'll be a lot closer than some people are saying. I mean, some people have been saying on Talking Town it'd be 4-1, 5-1. Can't see that at all. I think it could be a very nervous game, maybe very similar to what we saw at Portman Road back at Easter. It might go down to the wire. 2-1 Town, maybe. I'm expecting Enciso maybe to get off the mark for Town. I think he's going to relish playing against Southampton. I do feel like he could maybe have another Sarmiento moment, and something you don't obviously be remembering that from the 3-2, but you know, that kind of write him into Ipswich folklore a little bit. That promotion season, that was the goal that helped us go up. I do wonder if not we get we can springboard out of the relegation zone on Saturday with an Enciso goal against Southampton. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I mean, 2-1. I think it'll be a tight game. I really do.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I think you'll beat us. I do think you'll beat us. If you're tuning in live, drop your score predictions in the comments box below. If you're watching on catch up, give us your thoughts ahead of this one. Final thoughts on staying up. Do you think you can do it? You're well in with a chance, Matt. Do you think you'll stay in the Premier League this year? Gut feeling?
Yeah, Yeah, I do think we can do it. I just think we're just set up better on and off the pitch than some of the other clubs. I thought you would do all right in the Premier League this season. I thought you might go down as the great entertainers. Do you know what I mean? I thought Russell Martin would maybe get more accustomed to the Premier League, and you'd be losing 3-2s and 4-3s like you saw against us at Pullman Road. I thought that might be your kind of USP of the season. Everyone go, it's a real shame they've gone down. They were really entertaining, but as you said on our show, you're going down with a bit of a whimper, sadly, at the moment. So I mean, that was kind of disappointing just as someone looking at your club. And I just think we've got more about us. And I think Wolves, like I said earlier, I just feel like they're fractured.
If they lose Cunha, there'd be a big problem there, wouldn't there?
Yeah,
he's their best player by a country mile.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a very difficult fixture list at the moment. I think they're playing like 8 of the top 9 or whatever it might be. So whether or not Ipswich can pick up points while they're losing points to pull 3 from them, that's not easier said than done, isn't it? I don't really want to go back to the Football League either. I mean, when you've gone from League One back into the Premier League, I mean, you wait 20 years to try and get promoted or whatever.
You want to play in the Premier League. Yeah. A lot of Southampton fans would be like, oh, yeah, at least we can get back to winning, go back to the Championship, looking forward to going back. I ain't looking forward to it at all. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want to go back to it because, look what's happened at Luton this year.
Yeah.
They've ended up back down there and they're stuck. They could get relegated again. It's so, if you're not set up right, and there's issues, and you end up with a losing mentality, you've got a big problem. Yeah.
Luton's a shock, really, isn't it? I mean, I know their promotion was kind of a shock to everyone. I know they're putting a lot of money into a new stadium, aren't they? But just to fall right through the Championship at the moment is what it's looking like. It shocked me. But yeah, I like the pace of the Premier League. You play once a week pretty much, other than Christmas and maybe Easter time. The grind. I mean, certainly as podcasters, the grind of the Championship is unforgiving, isn't it? Tuesday,
really
Saturday,
hard.
Tuesday.
It's really tough.
Difficult. I think it's difficult on the supporters having to get around the country. 46 league games. It's not cheap either. I just like the pacing of the Premier League, and of course, I mean, Southampton were in the Premier League for God knows how long.
Well established for a long period of time.
Well, you want to be well established. It's the world is watching. You want to be at the top table. I always call it dining with kings. That's what you're doing. You're playing your Man Cities, your Liverpools.
Yeah, I find it heartbreaking where we are right now. Any Southampton fan tuning in right now, I feel the same, because you're kind of like, you've been a well-established Premier League club for a long time, a founder of it as well, and then all of a sudden we have a year out of it, and now the expectation is we're trying to find 12 points. I can't believe where we are. I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted, and hopefully better times to come, but it's horrible. It's horrible.
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. We could end up doing this show again, of course, next season in the Football League, but we'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully you can do it. Hopefully you do it. Matt, Talking Town, how can we find you first and foremost? What if we want some reaction from the weekend's game, some thoughts from you guys? Where do we go?
Well, we'll be live outside the stadium right after full time on Saturday on YouTube, so you can just find us there, Talking Town ITFC. Just pump that into the search on YouTube, and the same on audio, Talking Town ITFC, all the audio platforms, Spotify, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Matt, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on my channel today. Make sure you go check out Matt, Talking Town. Big friends of the channel. Absolutely love chatting to you, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like on the video, share it with a Southampton friend, share it with an Ipswich Town friend, and get involved in the comments box below. Give me your thoughts on the score prediction, and stay tuned for the transfer show. There will be a transfer show out in the next 24 hours. I'm going to go over all the latest Southampton rumours and news. Don't think there'll be a lot of incomings, but there will definitely be some outgoings. I'll see you again soon, and thanks for tuning in.